PGA DFS project coming to you live with Huntman DFS. We're breaking down the PGA Memorial Tournament for this week. It's a great tournament. I love the breakdown of this tournament that we have going on. It's a good course. Before we begin, though, always hit the like button for me. Definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. Come hang out with us in the Discord, which that link will be below, with Huntman DFS just taking over the PGA course. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about him breaking it down for us and having his player pool set up and everything. So definitely come hang out with us in the Discord. We also have NBA, WNBA, all that sort of stuff. So it's been fun. I'm ready to break down, though. Y'all are here for PGA. How you going, my man?
I'm doing good, man. This is one of my favorite tournaments. I think it's, in my opinion, one of the tougher non-major events for the PGA season. So I'm pretty excited to see just kind of the difficult test that'll provide for the players on the tour.
Same. So starting with the course. So I know the big thing is it's going to be big strokes gained. That's going to be the big thing. And also green speeds are quick. So talk to me about this course. What do you think of this course, my man?
Yeah, so like I said, it's going to be kind of a tougher course. Last year, Jon Rahm was our winner. I just remembering from last year, I just remember them talking about the rough the whole weekend and how long it was. And that's why so many players were shooting really high scores, just because of that tough rough. Now, I haven't heard a lot about it so far this week, but I do know that they've made a lot of changes throughout the course. They've changed some of the bunkers a little bit. Like you said, they've changed up the greens a little bit as well, so that they're going to play a lot firmer. So, yeah, lots of stroke gain categories coming into play this week, such as around the green, approach. Definitely going to have to focus on driving accuracy and distance, too, to set up those shots. But like I said, Muirfield Village is a pretty tough course. It's going to play at about 7,500 yards, par 72. It's bent grass green. So, like I said, I think it's going to play a pretty tough test for these golfers. 120 players competing this weekend, and then top 65 make the cut plus ties. So again, we're going to have over half the field making the cut. So very similar to last week, it's going to be really important to get 6 of 6 golfers in your lineup into the weekend. So what are your thoughts on the Muirfield Village and just the course overall going into the week?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how these players turn out on this course, because this is the field that we have. There's a lot of good players, and you have some players that are just totally mispriced, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're going to dig into it. We're going to dig on to the very top of this with the 12K to 10K. So starting off with Jordan Spieth, Jon Rahm, Bryson. You're not going to get me playing Jordan Spieth at 11-3. It's not going to happen. I know he's looked good, but I'm going to go elsewhere. If you want to play the defending champ and Jon Rahm, I wouldn't mind it, obviously. But the guy I do really like at this price tag of 10-2 is Justin Thomas. I think if he can get the putting together, this is going to be his course. I definitely like him here in the 10K range. You have all the all-stars, basically. You can make a case for everybody in this range, because this is the 10K range when you have guys up here. But for me, it's completely fading Jordan Spieth. Get you some Jon Rahm. I love Justin Thomas. What do you think of this 10K range, man?
Yeah, I like Spieth a lot. If I had to ask you, who do you think is the top golfer in the world right now, regardless of DraftKings price and all of that? Who do you think is playing the best?
Regardless of DraftKings pricing, I mean, you can make a case for a ton of guys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the issue.
You're right. I just think Spieth's been one of the most consistent. Again, I think it's going to be a little bit different this week, just the course in general. But I think he's been the most consistent out of those guys up top. So I will have some Spieth in my lines. Like you said, he's the most expensive. So it's hard to, with the 6K range not being the most pretty, I guess, this weekend, it's hard to fit him in there in all of your lineups, of course. But like you said, Jon Rahm's going to be a great option. I think he's the defending champion. It's way too risky to completely fade him. He also has 8 top 10s this season alone. So he's also gained strokes in all categories at the PGA Championship. So he's playing well. He's got great, results over the season. I think he's a great play. And I think Justin Thomas is a great play too. I can't get away from Colin Morikawa. He's one of the best approach players in the game. I just think his game will set up well here. And with, small greens, I don't think he's going to have to rely on his putter as much as, other courses. So he's been heating up recently. I'll definitely have some Morikawa in my lineups. Anyone else in the 10K range that you want to mention?
I just think that you can make a case, like I said, for everybody in this range. I think if you can find the value to get to one of these guys, I would not make you take them off, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I would not make you say don't play John Rahm. Don't play Bryson. Don't play Rory. If you get to one of these guys and you can fit them in your lineup, full speed ahead for you, as my breakdown basically for the 10K. I know it's hard to say because it's the 10K range. Y'all are here to find players, but again, these are the best golfers in the world. So you can make a case for a lot of these guys.
It's honestly harder to find reasons to fade those guys rather than
exactly.
But that's kind of the reason why they are 10K. So
exactly.
Moving on to the 9K range, who are your favorite plays there?
So I know Hovland's going to be very chalky, but I think at 9.9, why not? So in cash, I'm going to get to him. But in GPPs, I'm going to pivot down to Xander. So this is the first week that I'm going to mention Xander. But the course history here, he sets up extremely well. This is his course. He can basically get it done here. That's what I'm trying to say. I love Xander here. You can make a case for even Patrick Cantlay. If you trust him, I mean, you can definitely play him or Hideki. If the putting gets to them, you can make a case for both those guys. I know you like Corey Connors, so talk to me about who you like above Corey Connors and such.
Yeah, Victor Hovland, definitely an easy cash lock. He's going to be highly owned, but he's got 7 top 10s this season, and his approach game has really improved. His around the green game has really improved this short game. So I think he's definitely one of the easiest guys to lock in. Corey Connors, like I mentioned to you before, I've been riding him since the Masters. I really cannot get off till it burns me. He's just been playing so well. I think his approach game will set up well. Again, he's not going to have to rely on his putter as much, as other tournaments. So I think he's a solid play. I think Tony Finau is going to be a little overlooked. He's actually made 4 out of 5 cuts in his last 4 years at Memorial, averaging about in the top 20 each time. And his approach game has been solid recently as well. So, in my opinion, I do like the 9K range a lot. I even think Hideki is going to be a strong play. I've talked to you about this before. I think he plays well on kind of tougher courses. Patrick Reed, again, he's just so up and down. Definitely GPP play only. I'll probably have him in my pool. I think he'll be a solid play, but that kind of rounds out that range for me. Anyone else you want to mention there?
Yeah, I'm not playing Scheffler, though. I can't get on that train. I'd rather pivot up to Patrick Reed, who I know he's been inconsistent, yes, but until he gets that bounce back course, which I think it can be here, I think he can pay off for you at that 9-1 price tag. Like you said, Hideki's in play. It's just the putting. Can he do it? It's the same thing with Cantlay. Can he do it with the putting? Corey Connors, he's got to make a hole in one to basically beat your value. So, but he can easily do it. He can. Yeah. So, a 9.3, or he's going to be a value. He's going to be definitely a GPP option. But yeah, I'm not playing, like I said, Scheffler at the lower 9s, but dropping down to the 8s. So I know we both liked Sam Burns, but he withdrew. That's my only concern is I don't trust how his back is. I don't think his back is 110%. And I don't like playing guys that are withdrew a week beforehand. And then Neiman, I know he can get it done here also. I love him at 8.8. I think his recent form is there. Ken Smith, I always tout. I love him at 8.6. If you want to get to some of Louis, I know I hate saying that name. I hate saying that I'm touting Louis, but this week I am. So, and just looking at the upper 8K range, what do you like up there, my man?
Yeah, can definitely make cases for all those guys. I definitely think Neiman's been playing well. He did miss the cut last year at the Memorial, but he's just been on fire. I don't think he's missed a cut since then, actually. So I think he's a solid play. I do like Matthew Fitzpatrick. He's a great offensive player. Yep, he has a solid putter as well. He was 3rd here last year, so I think his around the green game can kind of carry him at his price, especially. You mentioned Usti. I don't know. This, like I said, first time that I've ever really put him in my pool because I don't really like risking it with guys who can withdraw, kind of like Sam Burns, of course, for this week. I think he'd be a solid play, though. He's obviously a great putter, and he's got 3 top 10s in a row, including the Zurich. So he's been playing well, of course. Charlie Hoffman, one of the hottest players on the tour right now. Again, I think Charlie Hoffman is just way too cheap. Will he win the tournament? Probably not, but can he get you a top 5 like he did last weekend? I think that's a pretty safe, or not a safe bet, but I think that's a solid bet. So especially in the 8K range here, I think he's a safe player, of course. If you just pull up his game log, I mean, it's top 10, top 20, top 10, top 5, just constant, making the cut and also performing well. So Charlie Hoffman's another one of my favorite players here.
Yeah, I mean, you can easily get Louis also as one of my outright plays that I'm looking at from a betting perspective at 55-1. I don't mind those odds for him whatsoever, just based on how he's playing. It's either going to be boom or bust for him, basically. In cash, it's an easy lock. So in cash games, I'm playing Louis. I think he's going to be highly owned along with Hovland. So in cash lineups is where I'm kind of starting. But in GPPs, I'm fading that because, again, he can easily bust or he can easily withdraw. But like I said, the odds of 55 to 1, that's a major outright bet that I love. So, like you said, Hoffman, I mean, the track record's there. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's done so far. I can't believe it, to be honest with you, what he's been doing. As I hate to say it, Keegan Bradley, can the putting get you there? That's the main thing. So he's a guy who can easily do well. But again, what happens if he breaks down? He's going to break down and he's going to get you an awful score. So again, these are guys that are so boomer bust that's why they're in this AK range, but they can easily go up. I mean, I don't even mind Shane Lowry at 8-4. I forgot to mention him. So a lot of these guys, this is where your balance field is going to start out, is this AK range, because you can make a case for a lot of these guys also. But the one guy I'm not making a case for is Ricky Fowler. I know he's been well. I know last week I think it was a fluke. I think that he's not going to bring it back this week, and he's going to be my full-on fade. So what do you think of this lower AK range, my man?
Yeah, not a whole lot of plays. I just think there's better. Like I said, Charlie Hoffman's going to be really in a lot of my lineups for this range. It's hard for me to choose Shane Lowry over him or Keegan Bradley. This is just a week that I don't want to ride guys that have been just extremely hot with the putter, with the greens playing a little bit faster than they have been in the past. And I just don't think that, will stick with you forever, especially guys with a history of bad putting. So, like I said, fading Bradley this week. Not a big fan of Lowry just because I like Hoffman. And Ricky Fowler is, I mean, if he wins or if he gets top 10, you can gladly have my money this week. So
exactly. Yeah, that's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Dropping down to the 7K range. So starting off with the high sevens, I'm not going to get them much up here. I'd rather get to the guy that I am locking and loading is Grillo. So Grillo finally has his game all together. The putting's finally there for him. I mean, that's all we needed out of him was if he could make the putts, the rest of the game is going to get you there. I love the upside he carries at 7-7. I even made a bet on him also at 80 to 1. I made a bet on him for a top 10 at plus 450. So my ride or die for this week is Grillo. So I'm loving him at 7-7. He's going to be my hawk of the slate. Bezentude, I don't mind him at 7-6. He's looked good. You can make a case for him. You can always make a case for Max Homa. I mean, I tout him every single week. It feels like it's 7-5. So I like a lot of these 7K guys. I'm going to get the more so of them than I am of the lower 8K range. What do you think of this high sevens?
Yep, I agree with you. I like Grillo a lot this week. I do think he's going to be a little bit chalky. He plays really well with the small greens, so he doesn't really have to worry about the putter so much this week. Kevin Streelman's going to be someone that I really like. It's kind of a combination of recent form and course history. He's tied for 8th at the PGA Champ. He was, 3 straight top 30s. He's got 5 of 5 straight made cuts here, including 2 top 10s. He just plays well at the Memorial. I definitely like Kevin Streelman. Adam Scott, I think is going to be overlooked. I normally don't really play him, but he's never missed a cut here. So at sub, 5% ownership, I think he's going to be a sneaky good play too. Anyone else in maybe the lower 7K range that you have your eye on this weekend?
So speaking of Streelman,
yeah,
I got him also as one of my bets for top 10 at plus 1,200. So,
okay. I like it.
I mean, again, like you said, you made a case for him at the recent course history here. You can get it done. A lot of these guys dropping down to lower 7Ks. There's not a lot. I don't really want Chris Kirk, Glover. I think he can do well. Maybe Brendan Todd. It's a give or take with him. So at 7-2, that was not bad. We've seen HP3 look good last week. Gooch looked good. Yep. So these lower 7Ks is where I'm kind of looking at. The problem is a lot of this lower 6K range, which we'll get to, there's not a lot I want. But like I said, looking at the lower 7K range, you can HP3, I always tout him also. I mean, he looked good last week, so did Taylor Gooch. So like I said, you're going to need a few guys down here, and if you want to get up to those 10K range guys. Yep. But do you like any of the lower 7Ks and high 6K range guys?
Yeah, Matt Wallace has been playing well. I'll definitely throw him in a few lineups. Don't have a great reason other than just, great recent form. Matt Jones has solid, around
Matt
the green.
Jones, yeah.
Yep, has solid short game. He also has a win on tour a couple months ago, so definitely will have him in a few of my lines. I do think there's some risky guys such as Munoz. I can never say his last name, Munoz, or Cam Davis. I think he'll be, another risky play. I think both of them could do well. Both of them could easily miss the cut. So I'm going to be fading those just because I do like Matt Wallace and Matt Jones. Looking at the 6K range, that high 6K range, not my favorite. I'm not going to have a lot of 6K range. I'm looking more for the balanced build this week. Troy Merritt's been coming up a lot. Alex Noren's going to be kind of a popular pick down here. Anyone else really that maybe catches your eye in the 6K range here?
If I'm throwing a heavy dart at one of these guys, it's going to be looking at probably Lonto Griffin at 6'8" and Joel Damon at 6'9", just for dart throws if you want to try to fit in a couple more guys on top of that 10K range, or even Patrick Rogers. You could throw a dart on him at 6'5", but again, a lot of these guys down here is not really what I'm looking at. I mean, like you said, Norlander maybe, but there's not a lot of guys I want down here at the 6K range. I'm going to really focus on the high 7s and get to my 8K range guys. But before we leave, who's your favorite pick of the DraftKings slate, my man?
Who is my favorite pick for the slate? Not prepared for this one.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Victor Hovland. I just think he's due for a win. Like I said, on a big boy course, his wins have kind of come on smaller tournaments. They weren't weaker by any means, but I just think he's been playing way too well not to at least be in the top 5, top 10. He's just such a safe pick in my opinion. Obviously, it's a chalky pick, but you're not going to see me, picking a 2% owned guy to win the tournament this weekend. So, who's your favorite pick?
Definitely agree on my man. I have to get to him at 7-7. Like I said, the game is all there for him. The putting is finally coming to form. We've been waiting on this for so long now for him. So that's all we needed out of him was that putting. So I'm locking and loading him from a betting perspective also. So he's my ride or die for this Memorial weekend. So if you hear me complain on Twitter why I lost all my money, that's pretty much why. So that wraps up the slate for us. Guys, thank y'all for tuning in. Always find us on Discord. You can find us on Twitter at HotmanDFS. Obviously, I'll add his link in down below. Always hit us up in Discord. He'll be chatting it up in the golf tab for sure. Also NBA. So, again, guys, thank y'all for tuning in. I hope everybody has a good and safe rest of their day. Have a good one, everybody.